and Insurgence. Here I am with Fred Frederson, who will be my co-partner for Week 1.
Hello, everyone.
Hey! First ban off is Maokai. I gotta be honest, I've seen Decimate gaming in the preseasons a couple of times so far, and they looked a little sloppy on some regards. I'm pretty sure they were working out a little working out here, a little working out there. I'm pretty sure in the long and short of it, Decimate will show a lot of experience, I would say, because I haven't seen Insurgents play a single game in the preseason. What do you think, Fred?
Well, no, I'm just mad.
Decimate Legacy's Rod GBIV, he does some amazing work. In the games that they win, he's always top of the damage charts. So they have the more experience working as a team. If they can work around him, it's an easy win for them.
Righto, and I feel like starting out Week 1. What's the kind of approach on both sides? Do you think, like, how do you attack the other person in the very first picks? Because this is where you have to, like, not only read them up a little bit, you know, scout in advance to see what kind of playing ability they have, but what kind of mentality do you go with Game 1? Do you try something fancy right off the bat? Do you go right into the meta? What kind of approach do you feel like both teams may take here, Fred?
Well, it seems that Insurgents checked out the customs played by Decimate Legacy for their bans. They're probably going to pick around what their champions were. Although I haven't seen any real games where Insurgents played together. I'm assuming they banned just strong comfort picks from their team.
Wow, starting off immediately with Doran Clyde has started with the Kaiser, the Mordekaiser, as the
I guess we will see something fancy.
Indeed, what an impressive decision. High burst damage with a good amount of CC is Mordekaiser, and that's very, very offsetting. And speaking of that, it looks like Skarner is the follow-up. Very off-meta pick so far, if I do say so myself. Very interesting beginning for Insurgents, as it looks like Decimate will be taking a very safe Karma and Lucian into the bot lane. Right now, it looks like Morgana to follow up with the continuous off-meta picks appears to be the mid laner, or possibly the support. Kind of tough, really, to say what the next direction, yeah.
The Kaiser could be going either ADC or top lane, although his ADC is weak, to say the least. If you put that with a Morgana Q, the Kaiser just gets to walk up and 3-hit them before they can even move.
I know.
I think it's possible.
Not to mention they got a Skarner just to really capitalize on a single target pick. Seems like that seems to be the plan of action, as Decimate seems to be taking their own type of one-hit, one-kill type of champions. Annie seems to be the follow-up for their mid laner, and Elise seems to be the Pun Pride's jungler for this one. As it looks like the follow-up is going to be a Blitzcrank, and the next one appears to be, not too surprising, some sort of hyper carry, as they will need to take advantage of the crazy amount of pressure on the front line that's going to be created through Insurgents' offense. So what do you think they'll take here, Fred?
Maxorus is hovering a lot of different ADs. It would be nice to see a hyper carry come out. Maybe the Sivir for the Just let Kaiser and Skarner run straight at them.
Right, and it's going to be very devastating to deal with, considering currently Decimate doesn't have that much of a front line until they selected the Galio. Insurgents is taking a very off-meta approach to the first game of this, as they could be trying to throw Decimate right off the track by not taking any meta right out the front gates. Great farming abilities out of everybody, and a great amount of sustain, as well as good front lining and solid protection for Sivir. It's going to be pretty scary to be Annie in this situation, because even the slightest misposition could cost her very life in a very fast pace. I don't know how Galio is going to do any work in this, to be honest. What do you think?
If Annie can pick up a Zhonya's, get Galio ulted, then drop it, should be okay. I don't think Annie can get burst through the just from the Skarner ulti alone. And then the chain CC isn't enough hard CC to prevent using Zanya's. They only have a knockup from Blitzcrank and Skarner's own stun and suppression.
Right. What also makes this very interesting is in their Insurgence game plan, they do not seem to have any other strategy when it comes to teleporting. They want the Kaiser to have an exhaust. It looks like they just kind of want to brutalize the front lane and work as 5 to overwhelm the enemy. What do you think about that kind of battle strategy for game 1?
It looks like Insurgence is going to try to outlane in the top lane. Probably going to have some Skarner ganks go up there early on before Galio gets any defensive items, and later on, when a Blitzcrank hook means a kill, Skarner just goes bot lane and does his work down there. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, considering every single one of those champions don't have a solid escape except for Lise, who has a pretty safe escape strategy if she can get herself to a minion within the range of another or anything else, or even another champion she could escape to thanks to her E in spider form. However, here's what makes this kind of tricky. When you're in Galio's position right now, how do you peel this kind of situation? Because if you throw yourself at Mordekaiser, you might accidentally get yourself pulled in by Blitzcrank, and you could just be way in the back line, so far away from the team that you might be caught in a very terrible position. And at the same time, you could say that if you try to peel Skarner, Mordekaiser could get right past you and just do tons of damage to the Lucian in the back line. Considering Mordekaiser's build will most definitely be something along the lines of slowing and doing a lot of quick damage, would expect a Gunblade on Mordekaiser for sure. What do you think, Fred?
It's going to be very tricky for Decimate Legacy in these team fights. Galio's going to have to get his taunt off on the front line, not go too far in the back with just tanking the damage from their back line, and hopefully his team can destroy Insurgence's front line before he goes down to Sivir and Morgana.
It's definitely going to come down to can Annie and Lucian do more than enough damage to push back that very, very intense front line. Not to mention the fact that there's a lot more to worry about considering Morgana's in this game. It's going to be difficult for Annie to try to force a play onto Morgana in the mid lane. And the bot lane as well is going to be pretty tricky for Karma and Lucian. Blitzcrank can be a very devastating force if even one pull hits.
Gonna be rough. Lucian should have a decent chance against the Blitzcrank with his hop. Just dash away from it, dash into the minion wave. Karma, on the other hand, not looking too good. All she has is a speed buff. It's gonna take some fancy footwork to survive that bot lane.
Very fancy indeed. Let's hope Kramer is well aware of this and is able to play this very efficiently. It's definitely going to come down to how both teams are able to handle the pressure of the other team. One thing that is going to be a big impact into the game is Galio's ult. He's got to make sure this ult is going to be on point during engages, because if he uses it too early or too late, it could end up completely sabotaging the enemy teammates, in a way that might actually benefit them in small ways. Because if he uses this ultimate to, let's say, try to protect Annie in a 3-on-1 situation, he might not be able to have it during the follow-up the team is trying to have. Well, it looks like not too surprising as it continues the streak of the Nocturne ultimate as lights are out and finally turn back on. Thank goodness. Well, right off the bat, Insurgence is going to grab their items. Do you expect a invade on Insurgence side? They do have the damage output. Do you think they'll take it?
Oh, definitely. Blitzcrank grab with the Morgana bind.
Right, but at the same time, do you really want to start Q in a laning phase at mid with Morgana? That just kind of seems like a recipe for very poor laning in the early stages against the Nanny, who's also not very good in the very beginning stages as well. Although
I think Morgana will be fine with a Q start. The W early game just won't do a lot to the minion wave. They're just going to walk straight in.
Indeed. And as they position right there at the bush, The red team is very aware of this and does not want to be anywhere close to that. As you can clearly tell, the bot lane has retreated all the way back to the second tier tower and immediately begins the retreat backwards. Due to the Skarner's ability in his passive, we have 6 different landmarks that will come into very big play for Skarner's advantages. You can even get a very small amount of gold, and I believe it divides up based off of how many champions step on them. It does. Right. So it should be like 15 for one person, 15 for 2 also? Is that correct? Would it be 15 for 2? And then it's 10 for 3 champions.
I believe it goes down to 8 when there's a lot of champions on it.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
We'll see though. Honestly, I don't think it's in Insurgence's best. I don't think it's the best idea for them to fight in the jungle around those points when you have to deal with Elise dealing AoE damage, Galio, Annie, and Karma.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, it does seem rather interesting to see the Mordekaiser not going with a Thunderlords here, but going with a Deathfire's Touch. Very interesting strategy to try to get rid of that passive that Galio has, to try to just eat away at that mana barrier very quickly, make sure it doesn't come back up anytime soon.
It also has great synergy with his ultimate.
Oh, yeah,
his ultimate's a dot that lasts for so long.
Not to mention the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, that's also very powerful for that item. And you can just see the massive amount of damage from the Mordekaiser's third strike, as nearly half of his health bar just fell from that one hit. Oh my goodness.
Kaiser still has 2 health pots to pop here. Galio's got all of his gone right now.
Right, which is a pretty good sign for a Skarner gank. But will he do so at the half health later on in this fight? Let's switch down to bot. Oh, looks like Insurgents. Never mind. I guess we're not going to talk about bot lane right away, as it looks like Darnclyde wants to push his advantage against My Girlfriend is Korean, as it looks like he will make a few steps back. It's going to be really difficult to try to get a good turn in this fight, because even the minor misstep and Galio's E will not allow him to escape easily. It looks like he's even forced to leave early. Wow. Ooh, the Blitzcrank hook just barely misses. Close. Very close. Looks like Pun Pride is immediately beginning the gank as the Spell Shield blocks the CC. The stun hits, and it looks like a gank's going to happen in reverse as well. Skarner's trying to make extra damage. The Ignite hits. He needs one more auto to do the trick. It will do it anyway. Morgana will get the kill in the exchange. But it looks like a TP has came in, and Morgana's got nowhere to go, and it looks like the retaliation will take a 2-for-1 against Insurgents and for Decimate.
Very nice teleport there. I'm not sure he needed to flash for it, but if Morgana's binding cooldown came back up right then, would have wasted the whole thing. They pick up a nice kill for that, for the Elise. 2 kills for the Elise.
Right. Poor Morgana. Wish that that Morgana really hoped in the near future that his ability was going to come up sooner so he could spell shield his way out of that problem, but it looks like it's a very, very, very long cooldown. I believe it's like 20 seconds. It's really long.
Really long in the early game.
Yeah. That's why you most likely see Morgana's play as supports, where it's just you only need it for a brief time, but in the mid lane, that's kind of a very valuable move against somebody who can use CC like Annie. We go on to the bot lane here, and with the Sivir versus Lucian, Sivir has a better wave clear, and can wave clear much easier and without other certain items that normally would go very well with most AD carries like Caitlyn, like the Hurricane and like a Static Shiv. But for Sivir's sake, you don't really need to worry at all about that kind of farming problem, because your W just does all the work for you. So that being said, oh, it looks like we're going to have another gank happen into Morgana, as it looks like Elise will not be able to make a play off of it, forcing the Morgana to retreat backwards. That's a lot of pressure happening in mid lane already, as Morgana has a small farm lead.
Can't we Open's been getting some really nice spell shields so far. That one blocked just the cocoon, Didn't block the damage, but blocks what Here comes at least for the return gank though, Annie will pick up the kill.
He could get a tower off of this as well if he gets one more hit in. He does go for the flash to make the play. Elise is now heading all the way up the top side. Mordekaiser is completely unaware of this. And he's going to continue moving forward despite that, as Elise is in position to make a play off of it. Elise has got a debate at this time whether she wants to go in on this, as we're looking back at bot lane, not too much action going on. The Mordekaiser is going to take some damage here. The CC misses. Fun Pride is making some damage hit. He does not get the W proc in time, and Elise bails out of there very quickly. Great job by Pun Pride, making the hits count very quickly before Drunk Clyde has made any movement to recept that damage. What do you think about that situation? Do you think he played that wrong?
I definitely think Drunk Clyde should have backed up a bit sooner. At least now 3-0. He's making the right call, picking up a Negatron here. They're going to need a lot of magic resist to handle a strong Elise. But you also have Karma, you have Annie, and Galio. You have 4 sources of magic damage from Decimate Legacy.
Yeah. It's also going to be, it looks like he's going right into the Gunblade and decided to get himself a Negatron Cloak. Sorry, not Megatron Cloak. Negatron Cloak has been confirmed purchase by him as he's getting ready to make a lane where he can survive through Galio's engages. And Elise, considering he's been very dominant, Punpride's been very dominant so far on these ganks, wouldn't be, seems like a strong decision to go right into a magic resist item. Yeah.
So we should see a play on this dragon soon though, and Infernal Drake's really good for both teams. My GF is Korean, almost has teleport back up. If a play can happen mid lane without either the ultimates being, like, without whatever team wins its ultimate being blown there, should be a free Infernal.
Okay. I just got a quick reminder to fix some things, as it looks like it is slightly blocking in the way of things. I'm going to fix that real quick. Anyway, back to... Oh, it looks like the binding will hit. And it's not going to be a lot of damage, but it is a necessary amount. If it hits about 3 more times, that could be a kill for Morgana, depending on how Annie will play this. Elise, looking for extra farm, is going to take the blue buff. Meanwhile, it looks like a gank's about to happen as Insurgence is trying to make a big play out of this. It will be a lot of damage. It's going to be enough, as Insurgence does make the kill on Annie, as Elise has stolen the blue buff at the meantime. Very impressive work to take advantage of things, as Elise is going to be the mid laner for the current time until other situations come about. But it looks like the farm between the bot lane's about even, and I gotta ask real quick as well. Hold on, it looks like a small scrimmage at the top side. Mordekaiser has the superior damage. You can see all the damage done to the Galio, who is building items to protect himself, and it's still not enough.
Forced to flash out of there.
Right. The triple Doranblade strategy seems to not be going in his favor, as he does not seem to have the survivability. He does the E to get himself out of that situation, and he will escape, and Annie takes the blue buff for Decimate.
No, Decimate's not going to move on to this Infernal Drake after they saw Skarner top lane.
Okay. At this current time, it appears that they will be taking the Infernal Drake, while at the same time Lucian is by himself. I think the Blitzcrank is a little unaware of where Karma's positioning is. You think at this time Blitz would have made a play at it. Very surprising of N Lion to not make a move at all against Lucian, despite him being by himself.
Right now, Insurgence's ward coverage is a single ward in Elise's jungle. They have no idea what's going on anywhere on the map.
Right, Blitzcrank seemed to not have gotten any position at all to think about warding. That's kind of very bad for him, who's been missing a lot of hooks as well lately. But at the same time, Sivir and Lucian are still tied for farm, so no matter how poorly A Lion is playing so far this game, it's still a close matchup between these two bot laners. I hope Lion is going to figure out some way to make a pull hit, because he needs to start making something work. Nothing seems to be in the way. The hit finally comes in as Cosmos will be forced to get right into a bad position. Lucian retaliates, forcing Maxorus to step back. And that will be an even trade between both sides, as Sivir seemed to got the worser end of the deal.
Sivir got a little bit of a worse trade on herself specifically, but the damage is pretty spread there. Looks like Elise going to try to come in bot lane here.
Right, but it looks like we'll get to that momentarily, as it looks like Morgana has caught Annie yet again. Morgana's accuracy seems to be very good, as Annie's having a very difficult time avoiding those Qs and W combinations. They're not too difficult to dodge, but at the same time, if you aim it correctly, it may look really tough. This is one of the problems that Mordekaiser has against a lot of opponents, but against a Gallia makes the most sense. When you have an ability to jump away from Mordekaiser and just good movement speed in general, Mordekaiser really struggles. Gallia wants to outmuscle him, but that might be a fight he can't win easily, as it looks like Punt Pride will immediately assist into the situation. Dronclyde has fallen into the trap set by Galio, as Galio's damage seems to be able to survive the onslaught of the ultimate. He should be able to come with the Gunblade very, very soon. And that's going to probably turn the fight much differently, depending if Galio can complete the Spirit Visage. Oh, never mind. I think he's going for a Banshee's Veil.
Ooh.
Wait a second. Did the Banshee's Veil item change as of late? Do you still go Negatron Cloak after that? I think you'd still do, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I know they made some changes to it. I don't remember what it was specifically.
No, I think that might build into Abyssal. Is it that one?
Lion gets the pull, decides to use it here, gets hit by the CC. Lion needs to get out of that situation, and it looks like Sivir Maxorus is going to take a lot of damage along with it. Skarner's coming around the flank. He hits the CC, but can't seem to get there in time. The hook lands, and it looks like we'll be able to catch the Karma. It's not a lot of damage. It's not enough damage, as it looks like the bot lane's going to bail out of here. The Galio is pressuring the damage in on the opposite bot lane, as it looks like he will immediately make a run for it. Morgana hits the damage, gets the kill, but Annie will follow up by killing Morgana in exchange, as it looks like Insurgents got the worser end of that deal, as it's a 2-for-1 that could end up being more kills in the near future. Nope, it appears to be a 2-for-1, as Kaiser will be taking the top lane.
They still have the Rift Herald on Punt Pride here. They could drop this, try to take more towers here.
Yeah, that's very true. As it looks like Red Team's turret on top side has been downed, but it looks like it's just a little too late, as Decimate managed to get themselves the tower first.
They get the first tower, along with an extra kill to go with it. Good trade for them. Although they definitely should have dropped the Rift Herald, taken the first tower a lot faster, and then just gone straight for the second.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Punt Pride has been extremely valuable on every single situation he gets his positioning on. That Elise has been very on point with the accuracy of the stuns and just making kills happen in general.
And Punt Pride's Elise is very strong. I'm a little surprised that Insurgents banned Zac over Elise. He showed really good stuff on his Elise in a few other games. One game he was a little sloppy, but he's really a just dominant Elise player.
As you can see, perhaps you may be right, but at the same time, you never know. Most likely they will consider banning Elise on the next game. You know what I'm saying? Because of that performance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think I might have just backtracked on my words a little bit there. Oops. You never know for sure. Lucian takes an early red buff. I don't know if AD carry can benefit from a red buff that much at 15 minutes in. That's usually like a 30-minute buff to give to an AD carry at this time. What do you think?
Raw GBIV, like I've said before, is usually their main source of damage. Right now, Pun Pride's super strong, but the red buff isn't as useful on him. He still has all the CC and just bursts of being Elise. Doesn't exactly need the red buff, just put it on Lucian, let him start getting his damage spikes. That's what I'm expecting from that.
Let's hope the damage spike will be more than enough to make a difference in both teams' strategy when it comes to what happens next. And it looks like Rift Herald will be used on the mid lane tower. It looks like Lion has hit the CC on Lucian, and a play was not made off of that. Lion's got to figure out a way to make that work better for him, because all he's been doing so far is been using these hooks in positions that are just not favorable for Sivir or any of his teammates to take advantage of it. He's got to make sure he does a better job of coordinating with his team.
He was a bit further forward than his team right there, although the end result is still Decimate winds up wasting their Rift Herald, just throwing it at mid while Rod GBIV has to back off.
Yeah, it does seem like a bit of a strange decision. They're in position for this, as the only one that really gets a strong benefit out of this is... Oh, it looks like they're going to try to rush in here. Morgana tries to get in position here, activates the ultimate, Karma's caught in it, and it looks like Cosmo Kramer will get caught in the CC, and the damage does hit. They try
but there's a huge Shivers ultimate there, but Annie immediately drops after it.
As a matter of fact, yes, as Pun Pride is going to finally lose his kills-death ratio. And it looks like the caught in the suppression as goes Lucian goes down as well. As it looks like Galileo will fall as he tries to keep himself going. It looks like he cannot. The rush strategy has worked into the favor of Insurgents as they completely overwhelmed them through damage output. Annie was just expecting something different to happen in that situation.
Amazing amount of damage from Annie there. Great, like 5-man Tibbers ulti, just got them all in it.
There wasn't.
If the Galio ulti had been there for Karma, it might have been perfect.
Might have been perfect, but unfortunately it was just a little too late, as I mentioned earlier about the advantages of using a Galio ult. JMC2 has made a very big play, saving the suppression for a very vital situation against Raw GB4. That would have not have been an ace if he used the suppression earlier. Like, he could have used it against Annie, and I'm very glad he didn't. Going right back to farming as both teams. This is the thing that I do find interesting. Insurgents made a very gutsy call, ignoring the opportunity to take this Drake away from Decimate. But they decide the ace was more important, and they make the engaging play. In exchange, they end up losing this due to the fact that everybody on Insurgent's side was too low to defend this. And the death timers are still very low at this current time as well. But seeing it like that, it just kind of seems like maybe they made the wrong decision. The CC and root hits, as it looks like Elise will be taking some extra damage from that, but no big plays off of it. Smart decision turning into Spider, so Blitzcrank cannot make the pull after the fact. Very good move by Pun Pride.
For Insurgents, losing the Ocean Drake isn't the worst thing that could happen. They could use the mana sustain for Morgana and Blitzcrank to maybe get more chances to just land their 1cc ability that ruins the game for Decimate, but giving it up isn't the worst thing for them. Karma gets to poke a little bit more freely, and that's about all they get.
Alright, and Insurgents got a 5-man team, and they are ready to make an impact. Their damage is high, their tankiness is hot, and they can make themselves in any position that they want to be. But what they need to have happen, and this is pretty vital, is Blitzcrank has got to hit that pole. The pole that's going to make a big impact into this. So a lot of pressure right now is on A Lion, who's been having a very difficult time so far with his pull accuracy. The CC mits. He does get the pull this time, as it looks like the suppression will hit. The damage is coming through, and I lost complete track of Elise as Mordekaiser has gone down. Elise bails right out of there immediately. Oh my goodness. Gets out of there just in the nick of time as Kaiser got nowhere to go, and now the Insurgents are on the defensive. The pull hits right away. Blitzcrank does it. The ultimate has hit by Morgana. A lot of damage is in. It is more than enough to make the play. And Lion has continued the pressure in as Elise is still alive here. It is enough. Or is it? No, it isn't enough. Sivir does make the turn on the situation. And Maxorus has come out on top. And Insurgence has won the fight yet again, as the AoE damages has been overwhelming the force so far that Decimate Legacy has been dealing with. Another one.
Beautiful Galio ultimate on from Korean, hooking, like dropping that on Pun Pride right when at the first hook, but then they just kept going and they got turned on. They lost. They managed to get the Mordekaiser, but they still had to deal with the Morgana ultimate. They weren't ready for that flash ulti to come out. Morgana managed to chunk everyone out and drop 2 people.
Which is a very valuable 2 people indeed. Smart move by Morgana, risking her own life to make a play such as that. They were completely caught off guard, as you said. So what Decimate has to do in this situation, that's the real question. How do they handle all of this instant pressure? Because so far, every situation has only gotten them aced or almost aced, as they just can't seem to keep themselves standing and keep the damage going. That's kind of one of the issues that that can happen when you have a Karma and Annie. They can only do so much damage in such a small breath of time, and whereas Insurgents can just keep the damage going for a very long period with AoE, continuous auto attacks, and just pressure in general. It's going to be very difficult for Decimate to manage. You know, take a small break here as Insurgents is positioning themselves mid. Fred, I know you play Blitzcrank. I know your pull accuracy is very good with it too. But I gotta ask, this Blitzcrank, in your Blitzcrank, how are they so different? Like, what's the difference between the 2 of them?
I play top lane in Rush Trinity Force. That's one big difference right there.
Yeah, I remember that now. I remember that. I played against it once before. It was fun.
The biggest difference when going for the hooks is you either do them really quickly. You don't go for the max range ones. You do them really quickly and just catch your opponent off guard like that.
Maybe the 2 of you aren't really that different after all. Lion's accuracy is improving ever so slightly thanks to Morgana's Q, who did very on-point accuracy. Elise has got it. Pun Pride has got to do whatever he can to make sure that this goes a lot smoother for him, because every situation seems to be more like he gets caught. Oh no, Morgana has made a very drastic mistake not using that spell shield in early. Oops, my camera just got all weird for a second. And it looks like Insurgents have got to fall back thanks to Morgana's death. That is extremely unfortunate.
Galio rotating for the bot lane to get that tower.
Right, and that will most likely go into their favor unless they do something about it.
That's the advantage of having a semi-global ability and a teleport to go with it. Galio can position around the mid lane when Baron's happening. If they have to back off, he can run straight to another lane and push it.
He's extremely valuable and a very smart tank against a Mordekaiser as well. So they just... My girlfriend is Korean, made the smart call here to pick Galio directly against the Mordekaiser. Smart move. Not to mention the fact that their carry damage is mostly AP. The only other force of damage is through Sivir, who has decided to go with a QSS along with the damage that she already does. Very interesting. The second ocean is up. The CC is landing. A-Lion's moving into position right now. The ult hits, but it looks like Pun Pride will secure the Drake, as it looks like the fight is going to be continued. And Lion hits the CC, and it looks like more CC is going to hit. Elise tries to bail out of there, gets right back into life. A gunshot. So low is Elise's health bar. It's not enough, though, as it looks like Elise will get out of there at the sliverest of health, as Morgana will once again go down here. These trades seem to not be in the favor of Insurgents, who was directly benefiting from making the engages themselves or turning When the fight is the way they want it, they can capitalize. But so far, they haven't got the fight the way they want.
Right now, Annie's managing to, like, that's 2 fights now that Annie's managing to find Morgana and just pick her off right away with a burst. And just ruin the fight for Insurgents.
Yeah, most definitely. And Decimate seems to have the upper hand when the fight's on their terms. Let's see what Insurgents can do to fix this problem, because they can't allow the fights to go into the favor of Decimate from this point onward, especially the team fights. They have a comp that's made for team fighting. So they can't have the fights go against them, otherwise they might run out of planning in the later half of the game. As expected, this game appears to be going into the later half. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 40-minute game, because so far it is all momentum that decides the fate of these games, as Maxorus will be a huge impact into the later half when her W will do tons of crit damage. It looks like a split push by my girlfriend's Korean, as Blitzcrank is sent to handle the issue. He does have a solid amount of wave clear, so it does seem to be the smart decision for now, as Galio cannot overpower a Blitzcrank. The CC hits once again, and that's the unfortunate business about it. They don't have Blitzcrank, who would have made Elise Funpride pay again for doing a very poor position, as Annie could not catch it with the Banshee's Veil either. Ooh, very close as Rod decides to test his luck, using the E to avoid the Q. Can we open has been invaluably accurate. I don't know why I said invaluably.
Gotta say here, Decimate has a ton of ward coverage. They know when somebody from Insurgents is rotating bot lane to try to stop Galio's split push. They know if they go anywhere near the Baron pit. And they still have a control ward on the dragon and 1 ward in the river by the dragon pit.
So, you know, I've never asked what your opinion on whose team's gonna win based off the comps, because it's all momentum, right? So, like, how can you decide who's gonna win this? Like, how can you be sure? So, what do you think, though?
If the fights keep going how they have been, with Annie being able to just get the burst off on a single target, it's going to be really rough for Insurgents. They need Can We Open to pick up a Banshee's Veil as soon as he can, and just to be able to leave more of a window to react to Annie's burst.
Or survivability, in fact. Do you think, oh, it looks like Mordecai's are going for Banshee's Veil too. Kind of surprising. Would have expected a Spirit Visage, considering how valuable that W is, and the new increase to self, you know, any type of healing, including self-healing. Mordekaiser just seems like the kind of person that would instantly go for a Spirit Visage.
I think that's the new build path for Bissell.
Oh, yeah, it is. So it is kind of strange that they're not he's not considering a Spirit Visage. It looks like Insurgents has convinced... actually, never mind. Insurgents has not done anything at the current times. They're just focusing on farming. They don't seem to want to make a catch happen. Another very interesting thing is they seem to be playing it safe again due to the split pushing Galio. Kind of a bizarre maneuver, as they are pretty good at capitalizing on immobile targets. So it does seem kind of interesting. Pump Ride hits the CC. He gets punished heavily for that, as Galio will follow up with his own CC. Garner is caught in it, as it looks like he has to bail right out of there. As Blitzcrank should be getting his pull back up pretty soon. It might be another engage happening. There it is! He gets the Annie! What an incredible hook! As it looks like it'll be a catch played by a Lion. The CC should be coming back up again pretty soon, as N-Lion is going after the Galio. He is not going after the... Oh wait, he's changed his path to the Lucian, as it looks like Skarner is by himself dealing with the Galio, alone, as N-Lion has came into play, hits the hook yet again, as it looks like the team is finally realizing that Blitzcrank is starting to hit these hooks all of a sudden. The CC has been hitting, and Galio burst his way out of the fight. And Lion with the incredible hook accuracy out of almost nowhere. What a very good move by his part. Oh,
he hits another hook.
Another one. Another one. And he gets another play as that Blitzcrank has been stepping up right to the point where it is the most valuable. Ooh, barely misses Raw as he just narrowly avoids the Blitzcrank hook. So close, very, very close, as they've been capitalizing dramatically on plays like this as they're moving into the Infernal. This is a very valuable one for Insurgents. They need to make sure they take this, as they will easily chunk the Drake almost without any effort.
But it looks like Decimate's moving towards the Baron here. They might just be going for more ward coverage.
As a matter of fact, I think you're exactly correct, as they just simply put a bunch of wards all over the place, covering the river.
They didn't catch Insurgents running to the Infernal Drake, so they may have thought it was a Baron rush there.
You and I have both played Mordekaiser before, right? You know how ridiculously difficult it is to control that Drake?
Yeah, it's like trying to tell your cat what to do.
Yeah.
It just doesn't want to listen. It just looks at you.
Just notice the bot lane tower is almost destroyed, as it looks like they will... I think Mordekaiser might have made a bad judgment call using the Drake to head mid to just shove it in. He could have possibly have grabbed a quick tower by heading bot side instead. And Lion is going to... I keep calling him A Lion. And Lion has decided to get rid of some wards in that area. Smart call, as it looks like Lucian's caught in a bad spot. He will get out of there quickly, as it looks like the Drake is still standing and starting to still do some good damage. Donaclyde is doing some massive amount of damage as he gets it right back at him, and he was completely caught off guard by that stun. And it looks like he will be dead rather quickly. The fight is still being continued. Maxorus is barely able to keep himself standing, but Gromp finishes him off, as it looks like Gromp's playing is actually making some big impact. Pump Pride will take out the mid laner Morgana as Skarner is forced to retreat. Did you see that Gromp? Just shot the Sivir completely, taking her life away with the crit mana damage, AP damage shot. They're chasing after him, as it looks like Pun Pride wants to make this an ace. JMC gets caught by the CC and has nowhere to go, as he's barely keeping himself standing. The damage is coming in, he's got nowhere to go, and finally falls down for the ace.
They may get the ace here, but it doesn't look like Decimate's going to manage to pick up anything else here. If they ignored JMC, they probably could have just run mid and taken that tower.
Right, but you might be incorrect on this one, as they're moving into position rather quickly. That tower is very low. They might be able to take it before Insurgence gets there. Or then again, I might be wrong. I might be the one who's incorrect. Bot tower is low. They have a big minion wave. Sivir's going down to take care of it, and we'll do it rather quickly. They're gonna start the Baron right off the bat. Knowing that Sivir was bot side was a smart call. Mordekaiser and Sivir are in position together as they're moving in, and Lion is convincing them that Baron's a bad call. He tries to go for the pull, just barely misses as he 7-10 splits them. And they will fall back immediately. Smart call out, considering neither team has a mountain Drake. I think they made the right call there. Ooh, that goes right through him as the animation got canceled thanks to the E by Elise. Great move on that part. Elise kind of was starting out very strong and really dominant, accurate on the stuns, but every single time so far, Elise has positioned himself very, very poorly, and Pun Pride ends up losing advantages that could have been theirs, and just walks out in the middle of nowhere and gets caught. I hope Pun Pride realizes this in the future and doesn't position poorly again.
Punpride is starting to pick up some defensive items, which will be really good for their engage. So far, it's been Punpride gets Morgana queued, then gets hooked by N Lion, and then gets ulted by my GFS Korean. And that's been what their engages.
And then dead. And then dead.
Well, a couple times not dead.
Yeah.
And if Punpride picks up some tank items, maybe it'll stay not dead.
We can only hope for Punpride's sake and the Decimate team.
Well, it looks like my GFS Korean went too far down.
Yep, Rar has a lot of health. And it looks like the Morgana damage from the ultimate comes through. Can we open? We'll escape out of this as Annie gets caught into it. The damage is really overwhelming. The AoE is too strong as Annie is now joined onto the side of Insurgence. And is starting to do some damage of her own against Decimate. Down goes Annie as they're pushing towards the mid lane Nexus. They're completely caught off guard as it looks like my girlfriend's Korean has finally repositioned himself. The support and tank are the only ones left here. The tower is doing some damage as Insurgents will go out of their way to take one more tower. They are trying to get it, but it looks like my girlfriend's Korean has finally convinced him to stop. But Maxorus will not stop auto-attacking. He's going for the Nexus. Insurgents is going to try to win the game for game 1 right now. As it looks like the Blitzcrank pull is keeping the Galio busy. He's trying to get rid of anyone, but it's too late. Insurgents has overpowered. For game 1, the comp seemed to completely overwhelm them, and the victory has gone into Insurgents. What a very impressive game 1. What
a game.
Absolutely, that one caught me quite off guard. Very impressive stuff out of Insurgents as their strategy to overwhelm Decimate had seemed to go exactly as they've foreseen. The Blitzcrank started hitting some very strong pulls after the Morgana setup, of course, as you mentioned earlier. And the damage started to really flourish, and everybody started to hit with massive AoEs. That's one very scary first game for Decimate.
That's why you pick Blitzcrank. It's just in one team fight there, and Lion seemed to just up his game by a lot and hit like every hook in a team fight, hit like 3 or 4 of them, and then they just started to roll over Decimate.
Right. And what a very impressive performance out of him, who was having a shaky start at first, but just immediately hits a lot of key, very valuable ones that completely pushed Punpride from a very dominant performance of hitting constant CCs to getting caught almost 8 times in that whole skirmish. In the end, Insurgent's dominance and damage in AoE was very impressive for game 1. As it looks like they may have been caught just a smidge off guard. We'll get it prepared for game 2, as let's see what kind of strategy Insurgents has for them. As Decimate's meta strategy seemed to backfire, and the damage just doesn't seem to come through. What the heck? Oh, whoops. Bit of a mistake on my part, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot to, I don't know if anyone had saw that. I forgot to show the charts and damage output. Kind of a necessity. We'll get it right next time, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies.
Hang on.
It looks like I got a little X'd on as well. For, like I said, X'd on, I'm gonna need your help later for some situations. Speaking of that, the reason why I didn't have the scenes changed is because Dota said they were out of position, and I tried to go find the person to get the correct one, and I couldn't find it, so I just stuck with the one I had previously, and Dota said that's out of position. So basically what I'm saying is I will not put the new one on because that's the one that's slightly out of position, and nobody likes it. So, sorry. All right, Fred, move yourself over. Let's get this. Let's get things started. So, that being said, we go on. We get prepared for game 2. As Decimate will be switching sides with Insurgents. So Decimate will be blue, and Insurgents will be red for this game coming up. And Fred. Oh,
hello.
Inspectors are full. The spectators are full.
There we go.
That's better. Alright, as they'll get themselves into LCS order. So, thoughts about that game, as I apparently made a few little novice mistakes. What do you think about that game, Fred?
All in all, it was a really even game for a while. A lot of things went wrong for both teams. A lot of things went very well. Insurgents, I'm really impressed with how they managed to turn that around. They didn't have much ward coverage, but it didn't matter. So they just kept winning those team fights.
Mm-hmm. Very true. It looks like, oh, for a moment there I thought I just saw Dota, and then he left.
He wasn't here.
Oh. We'll be getting the processes for Game 2 as both teams will be getting themselves into LCS order and into position accordingly. We'll be getting ready very, very momentarily. Oh man, I'm so ready to get an earful by X-Don later. He's going to so... He's never gonna let me hear the end of it.
And looks like the players are ready and they're gonna throw us straight in.
Absolutely. What is Decimate's strategy here? The meta seemed to have betrayed them as the off-meta picks has completely overwhelmed them last time. What kind of bans do you think they'll go for? Just the standard?
Looking to be the standard for now. They did ban Syndra last game. So we're gonna have another Maokai ban. They're gonna ban the Blitz.
And
Crank. After Lion got the hang of it, he hit every grab. Almost every.
Yes, all the very key ones that were extremely valuable. Pun Pride really has some mental scarring after that. After those direct hooks after the Morgana Qs. Still, forcing a ban out of a support is a strong thing Insurgents had seemed to have gotten to Decimate with. Let's see what the final ban from Decimate will appear to be. A Caitlyn. They'll be getting rid of Caitlyn from this. I think that was a solid move, considering that Caitlyn is very powerful. This could be the next, could have been the next pick.
A ban on a support that isn't Lulu right now. That's how much respect they're giving in Lion's Blitzcrank.
Indeed.
Playtime's over.
We're gonna see the exact same bans from Insurgents.
Alright, they don't want to see another. They do not want to see Ahri, the Tree, or the Blob. Neither one of those champions want to be played in this game for Insurgents' perspective. And Syndra, Blitzcrank, and Caitlyn appear to be the bans that coming out of that side. Karma, right off the bat, has been taken again. Are they really repeating the same formula? As it looks like JMC appears to be saying, yes, we're ready to do the same formula again, if necessary. This is, Game 1 has gone to Insurgents through the pressure strategy of overwhelming them with AoE damages. So this could work again in their favor, as JMC has confirmed the Skarner. Will Donside go ahead and replay Mordekaiser?
Looks like he's gonna keep us waiting on that.
Boy, I made quite a few mistakes. I'm gonna hear so much. I'm gonna have so much trouble later. Renekton appears to be the top laner, as Donside maybe is a yes. He will confirm the Renekton wants to take a bully top laner.
Both games, it looks like he went for that. My GF is Korean. A lot of the games I've seen of him, he really struggles in the laning phase. So picking lane bullies to keep him down.
Indeed. Elise is available. Pun Pride can double down on it if he wants to. Will be interesting to see what Pun Pride will confirm with, as Oriana, who wasn't banned in the last time. Pun Pride is now sitting on a Sejuani who's still very valuable as a tank and as a CC monster. Would be nice to see what kind of approach Pun Pride will do with Sejuani.
We will see the Sejuani.
Indeed. Cullen.
Sejuani against Skarner about a season ago. You would have never seen these two in the same game.
Oh, absolutely not. Not a season ago, and certainly not earlier this mid-season patch. Definitely not. But now it seems to be the consistent theme going on between Insurgents, as they really like their Skarner pick. Maxorus seems to be sitting on a Lucian. Wonder what Ra will retort with, as Morgana seems to be the follow-up. Can We Open has been very accurate with the Qs. I don't know how Kalin's gonna deal with this, because he seemed to have a lot of trouble dodging them when we saw him for very brief times in mid lane.
And he's got himself with another immobile champion to try to deal with those.
Morgana will be confirmed. Kind of different this time. They don't exactly have themselves a... they do have themselves a solid front line through Skarner and Renekton, but they don't have a pull. They don't have a way to bring them in. So, it's going to be a little difficult.
And there's the Pantheon. There's Korean's top lane bully.
Indeed, and Ra seems to be taking the Draven.
Ooh.
As it looks like Cosmo will be taking that and trading it with trading with Korean. So it'll be Pantheon versus Renekton top lane, a very all or nothing top laners who are extreme bullies. And Lion has decided to take a Braum into this matchup. So it'll be Karma Draven versus Lucian and Braum. A Pantheon and a Renekton walk into a top lane. Who wins that?
I think it goes in Pantheon's favor.
You believe so? I feel like
he does. I mean, if he times his W well on Renekton will probably go like, slide up, auto attack, reset with a W to block to hit it to get rid of the block. If Pantheon can time his W to block to counter that counter strat, it can easily go in the favor there.
Right, but that sounds like a lot of timing. I don't know how well Korean has been with timing, as his accuracy on ultimates have been a little lackluster. Do you think he can time it nearly that well? It's definitely a small window that he's gotta deal with against a Renekton. But damage is damage, and it'll come through when it does. We'll go on to Oriana versus Morgana, the Annas. Sorry, that was not even well placed. That was a terrible joke. I'm sorry, audience.
Well, a great follow-up for that terrible joke. We have 2.5 minutes here. Who was the MVP for last game?
You know what? To be fair, I think the Blitzcrank made the biggest impact into the game. As we mentioned earlier, it was at first I thought Pun Pride was gonna end up taking it with the way he was playing so far. But and Lion said, no, you're coming over here and I'm taking your MVP. As he made a lot of very, very accurate hooks that made a big impact. But Can We Open did an awesome job with turning a lot of situations around. Playing as a Morgana, you really got to risk your whole life to make a big play happen. So it could really go between the two of them. What do you think?
I felt strong performances from Decimate's team. Mainly, Can We Open did an amazing job keeping Insurgents in the game and then just sealing the deal, really. Just scaled up, and Lion started hitting all of the hooks after hitting some setup from Can We Open and then hitting his own hooks and making his own plays. I think I'd have to give it to Can We Open.
I agree. For game one, we're going to say Can We Open, but let's see if he can, with Morgana, again, go ahead and get a 2. I don't know if we talked about teleporting not being in for Insurgents last time. I don't know if we talked about that a lot, because apparently they think we were talking shit about them, because now it looks like TP appears to be exactly what they decided to go with this time around, is they got 2 of them.
This time, Korean didn't take DP up for Ignite to try to kill Clyde. He still has a semi-global ultimate to get around the map, but that's all he's gonna have to get into these fights, and it's gonna be just like teleport. It's still gonna be delayed, but now he has to be in a better position for it.
Right, which is gonna be semi-good and semi-bad for him, because it's all gonna heavily rely on how he can position well this time around, considering how poor he did last time. Man, I think we're kind of roasting too many people.
Yeah, he had some decent positions. He was off a little bit. His timing left some to be desired.
Yeah, he did have really good positioning. He made a lot out of a situation that was really bad for him. So he did a good job. He did a very good job.
I'm really excited to see Raw GB4 on Draven. If
Draven.
Decimate can keep Draven safe from the Scar and Ghana threats and the Renekton, then we're going to see a lot of damage come out from that. It all comes down to how they can manage to keep Draven from getting like 2 beefy champions on top of him. Draven has no way to get himself out of that unless you count his little speed buff.
And to be honest, it is going to be very interesting what they're going to do with the Draven, because holding him in position, that's not going to be a way to kill him. You can hold him down, but he's just going to keep swinging. So, I don't know how you're going to be able to handle it, because he does a lot of damage. He always does.
He does have the Warlords bloodlust. If he picks up enough crit, a Bloodthirster has Warlords, even him just standing there could be a huge threat. Indeed.
So I don't know how they're going to handle him. To be honest, everything benefits Draven when it comes to auto attacking range, because as long as he can keep hitting, it doesn't really matter what you hold him down with. But with the Skarner, it's the suppression pull might be exactly what they need to put Draven out of the game. So I think Skarner should be focusing Draven for a lot of these team fights, because they don't. Although at the same time, they do have themselves an Orianna in this game, and Orianna combined with Sejuani is a devastating double damage dealer, considering Sejuani is still pretty powerful despite the nerfs to her character.
Right now, Decimate has a lot of AoE damage. Every member can contribute to it in some way, with the Sejuani ult, Orianna, Pantheon Man dropping in, Draven just throwing the whirling death.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that they were lacking in the last game. They had a lot of single target concentrated damage, or some small burst, but they didn't have a way to hit every single person. But this time they're not going to let that slow them down. They're going to have a team fighting damage that will hurt a multitude of people. Anyway, we get right back into the game. I'm just going to turn some music off real quick, as we're finally into the game. It looks like they're moving themselves right into laning phase, as everybody's finally getting themselves settled and started. Right now, the mentality between the Insurgents is, we've got them pressured in, we got them beat up, we're doing damage, and we're hurting them real bad. How do we knock them out? How do we make this 2 wins for us? Because Decimate clearly changed their strategy and went with a lot more AoE, so when teamfights get around, they will hurt. So how do they knock them out? How do they convince themselves that they're winning this? And more importantly, Decimate, that they're winning?
Orianna's got the cleanse. Skarner's not going to have as amazing pressure there. I'm sorry, Korean, but I'm really hoping to see JMC2 just keep going top lane, bully the Pantheon. He's got Flash, and after that, he's a bit stuck. And there's going to be a huge fight coming out top lane. Both Flashes are used, and Korean already used the Ignite. He throws a spear, but it's not enough damage. He doesn't have the E for the crit passive.
Yep, that's one of the very vital finishing moves that he will have advantage of at level 3, which is kind of surprising that he even decided, let's risk everything to just get this playoff. I think it's kind of a very unnecessary move. I think he should have waited till at least he got the crit passive before making this strong engage. Oh well.
We have every summoner down top lane, and now Korean's going back. He doesn't have the teleport, so Dronclide's going to wind up with the lead in that. And it's going to be super easy for JMC to just walk up there and get some CC on Korean. Right. Especially if Dronclide freezes this.
Indeed, and Sejuani is beginning to back at this current time, so it looks like there will not be an immediate gank set up at top side. So Renekton is just going to really take all of the advantage of this, as Pantheon will now hurry as fast as he can back into that lane, as he just recently bought a Corrupting Pot when he came, a longsword, I believe, when he came back. Looks like bot lane, in a lane like this, Draven has the upper hand. So it's not going to be surprising to see Draven just continue to abuse his advantage. He's stronger than the both of them combined, and he knows he can do a lot of damage to overpower the both of them. So at this current time, Karma is going to have to somehow make a presence into this lane in some way, shape, or form. Because right now, Ra is going to have to deal with a 2v1 for most of it. Oh, speaking of a 2v1, it looks like Dronclide has decided to get some damage onto the Pantheon in advance, as JMC has moved into position and the first blood has gone to the Skarner. I think that was a smart move, to be honest, to give it to the Skarner instead of the other way around. Now Renekton's got an even bigger lead against the Pantheon. Looks like Pun Pride is just initiated with his own gank. A flash has to be made, and it looks like they will start hitting back. The damage is coming through as Lion is lost half of his health due to Pun Pride's passive damage. My goodness. Whoa, what a lot of damage out there in the bot lane, but it looks like the gank has not gone in their favor. Insurgence is getting some good damage onto the tower as Pantheon has came back, but he can't get to the tower anymore. That's too much CC to deal with. He's going to actually have to let the tower go. He's moving up, actually. No, he's not. He's just going to have to let it go. The first tower will fall at 5 minutes and 44 seconds. Wow.
Really early. I expected Dronclide to just let the wave go there and then just wait for JMC to come back. Now JMC has a free way into this lane any way he wants.
Yeah, I think it's actually gone very much in the favor of Dronclide. My girlfriend's Korean is now on the shorter half of this and is unable to take advantage of much of anything in this current time. The tower gone means that they will get a gold advantage given to both Skarner and Renekton. So kind of a strange early take, but then again, they might have something they have in store for getting themselves a lot of early money.
Insurgence already has a 2k lead. Oh, that's gonna close to like be like a 300 lead if Draven ever gets his first kill.
Yeah, and that's something the bot lane Insurgence has got to avoid at all costs. Draven getting any type of advantage is going to be very bad for them. Oh, that's some good damage. It's not going to be enough. Morgana's accuracy has come through yet again in this game. Damage is starting to pour through, and that's a lot of it too. Can We Open is just so accurate with that Morgana Q. There's just... Qualin is struggling every time to avoid it. Pantheon's low on health and mana as he's forced to immediately fall back. I think that advantage you were talking about, that brief timing frame for Renekton, is no longer valid at this point because Renekton's advantage in levels and in farm semi-negates the advantage that Pantheon could have had, as it looks like now Pantheon is going to be struggling for most of this game. Renekton's looking for trouble as he's moving into mid lane, and a small scrimmage between the bot lane continues. JMC's moving into position. Draven's in a bad spot. Has to flash early. He gets the suppression. The damage is in. The CC is hit, and Draven's got nowhere to go. Karma could do nothing but watch his poor AD carry die very quickly. Ooh, Ron Clyde just could not get the E to hit properly and just doesn't have the second dash. Very difficult in Pantheon situation. He's got a lot to worry about. Uh-oh. It looks like he completely was not expecting that. Pun Pride immediately fires the ultimate, and Renekton goes down. That'll give Pantheon a little bit of extra leeway, as he now got his, now we believe has the farm lead currently. Actually, why don't we take a small look at that? No, I am very wrong about that. It looks like it's a 400 gold lead to Renekton at the current time. I'm sorry. Kills aren't really that important, it looks like.
John Clyde had his ward on the blue buff there, which is a good spot to check for the enemy jungler, but not if the enemy jungler goes from like around the wolf camp or base straight to your lane.
Definitely something he might have to be aware of next time. Oh, here we go. The ult hits onto the Draven. He's got nowhere to go. The damage is really starting to hurt. Morgana just did not get the follow-up from A Lion as he was hoping. Oh, but there's the follow-up this time, protecting the Morgana. Good job by Ann Lion. Whew.
That was a nice game. Got some breathing room to it. Huge, pretty good farm lead for Maxorus right now over Ra. He's got about a 13 lead. About a solid 2 waves worth of minions.
Looks like Draven wants to engage right now, and Lion's got to protect himself. Pantheon ult coming in, gets the CC. He retaliates with his own ultimate. The Braum. Good timing on the ultimate to prevent any more destruction, as he single-handedly prevented the entire gank from happening. Very good job on timing.
Even with the ulti, they still had to pop 3 summoner spells to survive that.
Indeed. So
if Draven can avoid dying, just get some more stacks, and they can maybe abuse the fact that they have neither flash down there with another Pantheon ulti. Things could be very good for Decimate.
Absolutely. But I gotta be honest with you, in the same breath, Draven is empty on mana now, and does not have any way to get any of his own CC off. So at this stage, he's got to be extra careful with every axe he tosses from this point.
Looks like this game again, a huge CS lead for Drawn Clyde over Korean.
Right.
My girlfriend is Korean, seems to struggle a lot in the early game with this farm. While normally what it's been is that the lead grows super early on, but then he manages to pick up his farm game and keep it level.
Right, definitely something he might need to think about improving on. Plus, taking a Pantheon into a Renekton seemed to be extremely backfiring against him. The ult hits. Speaking of ult hitting, it's going to be another ult hits as Can We Open is in a tough situation. He's trying to get out of there. The E does hit. The auto attack lands, and that will be a dead Morgana as he tried everything in his power to make that work out. Fun Pride's got to get out of there. There's no way as Ann Lion confirms the kill. That'll be a kill to a kill on another kill. No, there's only 2 kills. Sorry.
Making up a call. Both mid laners there, they both pick up assists. Kill does go to Pun Pride versus Ann Lion. They actually took that one.
Yeah, JMC.
I think an auto attack.
JMC would have most likely benefited a lot better from this. Speaking of benefit, I think this is extremely beneficial for Skarner and Morgana. I do hope they take this, because they very much need engages, and no one better than having a Cloud Drake.
Rod GBIV canceled his back, hoping to stick around and ult it, but he didn't have any mana. They just had to give that up.
They didn't have an option, considering Pun Pride is nowhere near the Drake. Can We Open has been forcing Kowloon in several games to be under tower most of the time. Fast wave clearing is one of the benefits of playing Morgana in the mid lane. Very easy to do so.
Even playing under tower, Kaloon's still only down 2 minions at this point.
Indeed. Which is one of the benefits of playing Orianna, as it is very good to play a champion that can have AP on auto attacks. So it's nice. It's very nice to play somebody who can farm very easily. The damage is hitting by Pun Pride's. No! Oh, we can open. Wants to make this a kill. He gets some damage. Thrown back at him. The ultimate hits. Draven almost makes the kill. Pantheon's coming in for the confirm, and it will be a kill as JMC gets caught in the situation here. And down he goes. We can open. Made a very poor decision thinking they can kill the Sejuani. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea.
A little bit of an overcommitment with every ultimate being up.
Yeah. So that cost the lead. That cost the kill death ratio lead and put Pantheon back onto the map, as he now has the kills and the damage to go back with the score he lost previously. Speaking of scores, we take a look at this, and now Pantheon is now currently ahead of the Renekton due to the 2 kills that happened. That's exactly what needed to happen for Pantheon to get him back into this game. Good job by Korean with great awareness to turn some situations that were grim and bleak into their favor. Maxorus wants to cause some trouble, as it looks like Rob will not make a play in retaliation, just simple auto attacks. Maxorus continues to pressure the Draven. Doesn't want him to leave yet, looks like. Hits. Cosmos taking a ton of damage. It will not finish him off. Rob.
Forced to flash out of the culling.
Yeah. Kind of a strange decision, really. But that means Flash is now down on Karma. So no, they're not giving the red buff to Draven this time. Very interesting. Last time they gave their Lucian, Decimate gave a red buff to the Lucian last time, but they're not giving it to Draven. Kind of a weird decision. And so
I think last time they did it right when laning phase seemed to end and they switched their bot lane to top.
True. Very true.
Looks like Decimate's gonna just walk in and take this tower.
Insurgents, and yes, you're right.
Nope.
Decimate will allow Insurgents to take this tower with no contest, I believe is what you meant.
Yes.
Wow, what a very Baker-like top laner like Pantheon. I like that skin. It looks nice.
Very nice skin. Although my favorite is still Pizza Feet.
Pizza Feet?
Yeah, I think it's the Myrmidon Pantheon skin. He's got feet larger than his head. It's beautiful.
That sounds great. I can't believe how many skins Pantheon has. He has so many skins.
He had a lot of skins from before they started making like the really nice skins.
Yeah. Him and Teemo.
I mean, every Teemo skin is nice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No doubt about that. Okay, kind of a strange maneuver from Pun Pride, who has red buff. Just, you know, when you got the last tick for sure, and it only has like 1 health left, you usually just kind of leave it, you know? Pun Pride. You got the pride of all the puns in the world, man. Then you'll be meme pride. It's usually how it works, right?
I think that's a downgrade.
You think? I guess so. They're sending everybody mid and set up a 1-3-1 strategy, which I believe they've been doing for a short while now, and I haven't really been fully aware of it. A 3-1-3 strategy has now rotated over towards the Rift Herald as Insurgence wants to take it. Insurgence doing some good damage. Lucian says, I can beat this Draven one-on-one. Pantheon's going to come in for the reinforcements, as it looks like he will not be there to try to help the support out. Max, oh my goodness, the damage on Pantheon immediately erases Lucian. And it looks like they'll take advantage of Pantheon's positioning and go and take a Rift Herald. As Doran Clyde is now moving in position to use such a thing, such a Herald, on the top tower, second tier.
Really, just unfortunate. Rod, if Rod managed to hold on for just about a second and a half more, had the Pantheon come in, would have been ideal. He wound up losing a lot of his stacks for that.
Yeah.
Looks like Insurgent's just gonna hit the mid tower.
Oh, this is also something to notice. We have a Death Dance on Draven. It's been a, I believe Tyler One about a few weeks ago was using it, and a lot of Dravens and other AD carries have been using it as well, but I believe they realized that the other items like Bloodthirster and other things were a little bit more effective. So do you think a Death Dance is a good idea?
I think it's a good item on Draven after the buffs to it.
You think?
It's
Better
just...
than a Bloodthirster?
I'm not a Draven expert, but I do think it's a bit better than the Bloodthirster early on. Bloodthirster's really good when he has damage to back it up.
Ah, I see. Okay.
A light fight there.
I get your point. I get your point. Pantheon's gonna go for a tower at top side as they will not do a 1-3-1 anymore by Insurgents. I kind of liked it. It seemed like they had a good 1-3-1 strategy going, but I guess not.
They still have the Rift Herald up here. Now they got 2 Cloud Drakes. That's gonna be really nice for Skarner later on, trying to get flanks.
Yeah. How will Renekton use this? Will he send it mid, or will he try to regroup with Lucian and send it bot? Because all he really needs to do now is to just get a tower with it. So using at least somebody with a good amount of clearing, like Lucian, would be a smart idea at some point in this game. The Baron is finally up, and it looks like 20 minutes have passed. Not surprising that this game is still close, as these two teams are very evenly matched, and both give a lot of respect to each other at the same time. No BM here, no positioning errors. Everybody's played with the best intent of survivability, except for Pantheon so far, who's clawed his way from having a miserable game to being one of the most fed players on his team currently.
Looks like we're going to see the red buff now going over to Draven 20 minutes in. He's got Merc Treads again. I think he's really giving some respect to what the Bromstun, the Morgana, and the Skarner can do to him.
Oh, okay. So Pantheon's out of this, and this is a 5v4 situation. This is where you wish you had a Blitzcrank, you know what I mean?
Pantheon's in position for his ultimate. He's in the range.
Right.
I think he's looking for it right now.
Everything to Sejuani. That's an ult in position. JMC's close to anything that gets close to Sejuani is going to be really dangerous. Pantheon's going to go in on the Skarner. The team is all here. Sejuani still has the ball, and Morgana hits the ultimate. Finally the ultimate hits, as it looks like it may have been a little late. The damage is coming through, and Lucian will make a kill happen after the fact. I think Orianna held the ball just a little too long, as she should have used it for damage. This is the best time to use that, as they're moving into position to take themselves a tower. Bam! Whoa! That damage surprises me every single time. That's so much. Look at that. They're at half already. That's going to be another tower they can take.
Yes, I want to see a team just try to rush Rift Herald and have a Ziggs.
Oh,
that's just a recipe for disaster. You just have Rift Herald hit the tower once, Ziggs throws like a Lich Bane auto at it, and then throws a W at a tower. That's all you need.
Gone, and gone instantly. Yeah, I agree. They got a lot out of that. They managed to make several towers and an inhibitor disappear. That team fight went so much into Insurgents' favor. Very good job out of Insurgents, especially getting that earlier Rift Herald. That was extremely smart out of them to do so. Decimate has got to figure out a way to make these team fights work out better for them. Orianna held the ball way too long and just didn't do any damage. So Pun Pride had the ball on him for such a long period of time, and they knew that, and they just kept their distance. They played it safe, and they waited for a better opportunity. Poor Kalin used that at a time where it was no longer important or valid of an approach. Sadly, Sejuani could also be blamed for this as well, but I feel like Kalin's got to do a better job with damage. He can't let the ball sit on somebody and just not hurt anyone. I feel that is more smart. I don't know. What do you think? Am I crazy?
Definitely. It could actually wind up being good for them if they had maybe started it with the Shockwave and then followed up with a Sejuani ult. Might work out a bit better for them. Or if the Sejuani ult does hit a few people, then get the ball in there almost immediately after to set up for Draven and Karma. If they communicate their engage a bit better than they have been. Oh jeez, Maxer's getting run down. 2 flashes for him. They will pick him off for it. If they have the Pantheon start ulting right when Pun Pride goes in for the ultimate, they can chain the CC long enough that he'll land in there for the full AoE damage, and they get the Draven ultimate and the Karma Q. They need to communicate their ultimates better than they have been.
Agreed, absolutely. They just waited for something and nothing went the way they wanted, so they just can't continue to wait. So let's hope that won't happen for them. At least let's hope the next fight's going to be very interesting. Can we open? Can do so much damage to that Orianna, as Orianna's at half health just from those Qs and the Ws. That's a lot of practice with that Morgana, and very impressive work. They took themselves the tower along with it, and Insurgence has an upper hand on all fronts here. Uh-oh, Braum needs to bail, and he does do so. Decimate's got to make... Decimate at this point has to basically play very defensive, but one thing that's kind of surprising is all they've been doing so far, all the Insurgents have been doing so far is pressure. They've been taking stuff, pressure, standing right in front of their face, pressure, move into their position, pressure, 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 pressure. That's worked really well in their favor against Decimate.
And they now have the triple Cloud Drake to just rotate wherever they want to.
Yeah,
to do their pressure game.
They got mobility boots with their mobility boots, especially. Look how fast Braum. Wasn't Braum like on the other side a second ago? He just completely...
Yes, he was.
Oh my goodness, that incredible movement speed by the mobility allows him to just be anywhere. He basically has 2 boosts of mobility right now. Now they're going to completely be out-rotated as DMC needs to turtle up even harder this time as they're getting completely outmaneuvered.
They have to try to handle the mid lane. They have Dragonclyde shoving in top lane, and then they have the 4-man bot. The 1-0-4 split is just working so well for Insurgents.
Right. Ooh, very close. That could have been a dead Lucian if anything worse happened. Draven's got to deal with a Renekton at top lane. I think that was a smart call, but Maxarus is doing some damage in the back line, and some suppression happens, and it will be Pantheon that dies. The damage is coming through, and Raw will end up falling here as we're looking at Insurgents may come out on top on this one. As it looks like DMC Decimate is having a tough time with this. They are going to surrender. They can't seem to figure out a way to win this one, and they're going to give up. And that will be game 2 of the best of 3. Congratulations to Insurgents for a job well done. Okay, and that will be game 2, and I believe the final game as Insurgents comes out 2-0, victorious through their pressure strategy. DMC, sorry, I keep calling him DMC. Decimate. There we go. Decimate. Decimate had a very good job with their change in strategy, but they could not confirm kills. The kill-death ratio just was not in their favor, and I feel like items could have been the main reason for that. What do you think?
Decimate needed to get those stacks off on Draven. He never cashed in once this game. They didn't manage to play around the Draven stacks well enough. If Draven got strong and was able to work anyone who was in the front line, it would have gone so well for them. They didn't manage to coordinate their CC ultimates very well, all the huge ultimates. And Insurgents just had a really clean game. There were only 11 kills on their team, and they just rotated around the map beautifully and just took tower after tower.
Speaking of tower after tower, Morgana's performance in this game seems to be quite great. As we switch to the graphics here, her damage output seems to be the highest in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was the highest last game as well. Morgana's performance in general seems to be very dominant and very forced upon Decimate. And I gotta say, for game one, pressure. Pressure was the key word of this whole game. They dominated through it. They overwhelmed the enemy. They just made them respect their approaches. So we go on to one last comment before we get into MVP voting, and I think we both know who we're going to vote for this one, but I don't know, maybe you have a different opinion. Speaking of that, what is your final thoughts of this game?
I was really impressed with Insurgence's front line this game.
Absolutely.
They when the huge fight happened bot lane, they got 4-man. They did have to blow 3 summoners to get out, but they still managed to deny Decimate actually getting their win condition, which would have got Draven to cash in on his stacks, and they both got away with their lives. With the beautiful Braum ultimate, they managed to get away. In the last fight, Maxorus was almost dead, and then before Korean got ulted by GMC and dragged straight through a culling.
Mm-hmm. So
and JMC getting the first tower 5 minutes with Drawn Clyde off of just 1 kill on my GFS Korean.
Yeah. Very impressive work out of them. Very great stuff. Let's take a look at the Vision tab real quick while we're at it. As we take a look at this, we can see that Karma's Vision total seems to be very good in comparison to Braum's amount. I believe a much better improvement from last game from both sides, as we don't have any actual evidence to prove such a thing, but we will say this, though. Karma definitely has done a lot better to get a lot more wards out in that game. Very impressive job. Braum, on the other hand, might need to get some improvement out of the war coverage. Their warding as a whole, as a team, is very good. As you can clearly see, nice solid stacking in wards. But still, as a total, that's not a lot. I believe in the ward placement, they got a little bit outwarded in some regards. Maybe my math might be a little off. I am just looking at the numbers after all. But I feel like Braum could ward just a little bit better in the future. Just some, even just some minor ward placement could be much better suited. Because despite their well-played escapes and everything else, it against a different team with this many wards is a little lackluster. Definitely gonna have to be more improvements in the future as a whole.
Especially last game, if they had a lot higher ward coverage, the plays they could have made with Morgana Blitzcrank, they could have just shut Decimate out with just ward control the enemy jungle, and then just getting picks with their CC abilities or just their basic Qs.
Yeah, and at a faster pace, I agree. The game could have ended pretty much around the 30-minute mark instead of the 41. But at the same time, it was still a very impressive performance out of both teams. So, we got to pick ourselves an MVP, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe my biased opinion says that Morgana, Can We Open, is the MVP. At least that's what I perceive it to be. I will see what Frederson thinks, however. What do you think, Fred?
I wasn't as impressed this game with Can We Open. He still did some great work. Definitely did a great job, but I would have to give it to JMC too. He was just on the map.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he did manage to get a lot of strong CC. He hit a lot of abilities. He did a very good job as well. We are giving him a little bit of less credit due to the fact that Morgana in the first game was able to make Blitzcrank hit a lot of key pulls. But I feel the pressure that Morgana did to just force the mid laner back is what swayed my opinion. But JMC at the same time did make a lot of great plays, so I'm with you on that. I guess it's gonna, if we have to make it a coin flip or anything like that, I'm gonna have to stick with you and say JMC might have been a very important key fact. Sorry, Can We Open, but I believe JMC has earned the MVP just as well as you have. So, JMC, we'd like to get an interview with you if you don't mind. Hopefully you'll be online. We'll get somebody to tell us immediately about who we think, see if we can get our hands on JMC and we can have a small interview. And, you know, a good talk. That'd be great as well. So, I believe JMC is currently in the Insurgence call. If you hear us, JMC, it'd be great to have you join us in the caster lobby. If not, we'll try to see if we can get a hold of you, man, because you did a really good job this game, and we'd like to talk with you about it.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, JMC, congratulations on your first win in Insurgence. Good work, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we got a few questions for you. Fred, do you have anything you want to start off with?
What's it like being one of 10 Skarner players?
One of 10 Skarner players.
I might be lowballing you on that one.
Well, one of my friends got me into it because when I was first starting out, I just wanted a nice tanky jungler and simple Skarner ult. It got me into it. I like being a Skarner player. It suits my playstyle well.
Most certainly. You were one of the big factors in the advantages you guys were having in pressure, especially with the suppression. You guys were able to just make so many awesome plays through your effort alone. So really good job out of your part, to be honest.
Oh, thank you. I gotta say, it was a lot of team coordination, just talking a lot, just making sure we have a lot of communication. That's what really got us our towers and everything.
Yeah, we saw that awesome engage at the very beginning when you guys were at when you're on blue side and you guys decided to say, yeah, we don't need that Drake. Let's just go mid and just get an ace real quick. Who made that call? That was awesome.
I don't remember. I don't know. The biggest thing for me in that game was just the 3 Kyle Drakes, because the moment we got that, we were all like, oh my god, we're gonna go so fast. So, that's all
Braum caught me off guard. He was like on one side of the bush, and then he just immediately ran around. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, wow, we got there hecka fast. But
it was a really great performance. So, I gotta ask, since this is not only your first MVP for Insurgents, but the first MVP of the entire season, do you feel like you can repeat your performances from that point? Or do you think that's where you topped off?
I'd say there's always room for improvement, and just can't end off at MVP. You gotta go for the win there. Can't just end off. Always room for improvement.
Nice. Do you feel like you got MVP for this game, or do you feel like your friend?
Honestly, I think the whole team is the MVP. I mean, because if one of us isn't there, then we ain't gonna win a fight. So, I mean, Braum definitely put in his work. Morgana, damage, of course. Renekton split pushing, and of course our AD carries there as well. I mean, if one of us isn't there, then we're just gonna lose the game. So.
Yeah, you definitely the real MVP though.
Thank you.
All right, I guess I'll go to final questions here. So with the first win for Insurgents here, do you feel that wait, hold on. How do I want to ask this question? Do you feel that the victory here is a statement that you want to make for your team? Do you feel like this is more wins to come? This is just the first of many? What do you feel like for this league?
I feel that, there's a lot of more wins to come. I think we got into our groove after the first game, because the first game we were a little disorganized, but once we get into our groove, we just keep stomping and dominating just with all that pressure. So, yeah, I'd definitely say there's more wins to come.
I really liked your guys' team a lot, by the way. I love the off-meta picks. It was really fun to watch. All right, thank you very much for showing up, JMC. Yeah. We'll see you next time, and hopefully we'll see you in the MVP spot again next week.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right. Fred, I gotta be honest with you. I like that guy. He was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool guy.
I expected another Graves Lee Sin.
So, I guess final thoughts, Frederson. What do you think about this whole ordeal so far? The wins, the performance everybody made. What's your final words before we close this out for the first game? What do you think?
There's a lot for both teams to work on, but honestly, they both did really well in different aspects. I definitely think Decimate, while they drop both their games here, next time they play, they'll be able to bounce it back up and get some wins. They have their wards so good. They have the good champion pools that work off of each other. They just need the better coordination, and Insurgents really prove that with just outdoing them in coordination.
Mm-hmm. I second your motion. I agree. I feel like just minor improvements all over the board can really make these teams very good contenders in the near future and very dangerous for most other opponents. Well, I think this is a good time to sign off here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Army Overlord, and here with me is...
Frederson, that is me.
All right. Well then, I'll see you all next time, and let's see. How do I? How do we end this? Oh, I got it. Welcome to the Bronze, Silver, and Gold competitive season. We'll see you in next game. Bye, guys.